Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another NFL Week breakdown here on Honorable Mention Sports. Sorry about that. I'm Drew Bedard here for HMS and wanted to bring you just a quick recap of Week 11 in the NFL. And I usually do these on Monday, but I'm actually happy to be doing this on Tuesday because now I get to recap the Monday Night Football game. So thanks to everybody who's going to be watching, listening to this in the future. Please subscribe or follow Honorable Mention Sports for Josh, for Caleb, for everybody. Josh and Caleb will be back at it this Thursday for their college football weekly breakdown. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about NFL Week 11, and let's go all the way back to last Thursday on Amazon Prime. We had the Commanders visiting the Eagles, and if you looked at my picks last week, I picked the Eagles at home because I just thought they're playing better. They look better. This feels like a home win for them. And the Eagles come out on top. It's kind of a back and forth game. Really, let's look at it. It is 7-6, 10-6, somewhere in there. And then the Eagles just explode in the fourth. Go 20 points in the fourth to move to 8-2, Commanders to 7-4. Saquon Barkley has an incredible game. He was awesome all game long. 26 carries for 146 yards and 2 TDs. Jalen Hurts has another very efficient game. I thought he stunk in the first half, and he was great in the second half. 18 of 21 for 221. I think the Eagles are looking great. They've got to win. That was a big game. That's a big game because that's a good team with the Commanders, but they got to continue to show that they can win the big game. Will they be there in the middle to the back half of the playoffs? I don't know. I mean, they're a Jekyll and Hyde team, and with Nick Sirianni, you just kind of never know. But last Thursday, the Eagles win 26-18 in Philly. Let's move to Sunday and the 1 o'clock games. Packers take a close one in Chicago. The Bears, for some reason, can't score right now, but they're just, I don't think they've scored. I think Caleb Williams has like 9 TDs on the season, but Jordan Love has another nice performance. He runs for a go-ahead TD, and the Packers beat the Bears. The field goal at the end of the game gets blocked, which is such a Chicago Bears thing to happen, and the Packers end up winning it, and the Packers own the Bears for these last few years. They've owned them for a long time. Jordan Love goes 13 for 17 for 261. Boy, that's efficient for 1 TD. Josh Jacobs goes 18 for 76 and 1 TD on the ground. Watson goes 4 receptions for 150 yards through the air. So Jordan Love obviously making up a huge percentage of those to Watson through the air. So the Packers moved to 7-3, looking really solid, but the Bears are not very good, and the Packers had a lackluster game. I think they can look better. We'll see what happens next with the Packers and whether they're going to emerge as a contender in the NFC. Next one was an absolute disgusting snoozer, which was the Lions and Jaguars in Detroit. This game was over early into the second quarter, ends up 52-6. Jared Goff, another unbelievably efficient game, 24 for 29 for 412 and 4 TDs. I think there was a stat at one point that the Lions scored on their first 7 possessions, like scored touchdowns on their first 7 possessions. And I mean, he spread the TDs around, and David Montgomery had 2 on the ground. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he had 2 through the air. 11 for 161 through the air was St. Brown with 2 TDs. The Detroit Lions look amazing. They are now, if you go to the odds, they are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. They look incredible. They look like they could beat anybody. And with Ben Johnson's offense, he is going to have a head coaching job, no doubt about it, in 2025 in the NFL. He has an innovative and interesting offense. It's constantly on the attack, and the Lions look unbeatable right now. So big ups to the Lions and everybody in Detroit. I know it's got to feel good for them. Next one, let's head on down to Nashville and another performance by the Titans, which is just, at least Will Levis had that one big reception down the right field, talking baseball, the right side of the field. Will goes 17 for 31 for 295 and 1 TD, but the Titans just can't score enough points to keep up. And the Vikings, who are playing I guess you would call it probably mediocre. Come away with the win 23-13 in Nashville. Sam Darnold leads the Vikings to their third straight win, but they're not winning convincingly. They're winning at the last second. This one a little bit different of a story that kind of led throughout and looked pretty good. But Will Levis, I mean, at least there were some signs of life, but they still can't move the ball. That one TD, but otherwise it's just 2 field goals on the day for the Titans. And I feel for the Titans fans because they can't seem to get it going. I called this one. So let's head on down to Miami for the Dolphins and Raiders. Had the Dolphins winning this one. Tua looked terrific. 28 for 36, 288 through the air and 3 TDs. Devin Achane looked awesome as well. 17 for 73 with 1 TD. And the shining light, the bright shining light for the Las Vegas Raiders was Brock Bowers with 13 receptions for 126 yards. I'm taking his receiving prop next week, whatever it is, with 1 TD. Brock looked fantastic. Raiders looked okay, but the Dolphins defense was just as good as the Dolphins offense. Dolphins offense looked awesome. They looked really efficient. Tyreek Hill got involved. Everybody got involved. And the Raiders looked okay, but the pressure from the Dolphins front line, the front four, really put pressure on Minshew all day, and they just couldn't get it going enough to overtake the Dolphins, and the Dolphins get the win at home in Miami. Let's move on up to Foxborough, for the Patriots and Rams. Pretty good effort right here by the Patriots, and another really encouraging start by Drake May. But the Rams do it by getting 14 in the second and 14 in the third. Stafford throws for 4 TDs, 2 to Cooper Kupp. So Stafford goes 18 for 27 through the air for 295 and 4 TDs. Kyren Williams has another good game, 15 carries for 86 yards. And Puka Nacua, who looked like he was hurt in the first half, comes back, has 7 receptions for 123 yards and 1 TD. And the Rams take the win over the Patriots, but the Patriots are showing signs of life. They should be encouraged in New England about what they're doing. The Rams needed that win. That was a must win for the Rams. They're at 5-5. Hopefully they are headed in the right direction and looking for a playoff spot. The next one, called this one as well. On my picks, I just picked the Saints because they were at home, but they ended up looking pretty good, scoring 21 in the fourth. And the real star for the Saints all day was Taysom Hill. He runs for 3 TDs, and Jameis Winston really couldn't get anything going, and the Browns now fall to 2-8. I mean, they just couldn't score. Jameis had a good day through the air for 30 for 46 for 395 and 2 TDs. Taysom Hill again scores those 3 TDs on the ground. He had 7 carries for 138. I mean, that dude should be a starting running back on somebody's team. And Jerry Jeudy was, again, aside from Jameis Winston, was the star of the day for the Cleveland Browns with 6 receptions for 142 through the air and a TD. But the Saints take the home win, needed that one. They moved to 4-7. Let's see what they do the rest of the way. But they're not great. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. All right, this next one was nuts. We move up to New Jersey and the Jets and Colts. Jets at home. All right, really interesting game, and I want to do a story on this one separately. But Anthony Richardson takes the starting mantle back from Joe Flacco. And I think the big question marks were out there. What is Anthony Richardson going to do with this opportunity? Well, he showed out, and he had a comeback win in the fourth for the Colts. The Jets looked dismal in the first half, but they score a touchdown before the end of the first half. Then they come out. They look great in the second half. They can move the ball. They got Breece Hall. They're throwing it to Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Gibson. They're moving the ball around. Rodgers still looks like all he wants to do is throw off his back leg. But it's a good game heading into the fourth. Jets take the lead late. And then Anthony Richardson drives him back down, has a couple magnificent throws, and then runs in the winning touchdown. They go for 2. They don't get it, but they're still up 28-27. And the Jets can't do anything. Don't come back because there's not enough time left. Colts 28-27 at the Meadowlands. New York Jets fans, I feel for you guys. 3-8 on the season. So now Aaron Rodgers has won less games at this point than Zach Wilson did. So maybe a quarterback doesn't change at all. And I'm sure Robert Saleh's sitting somewhere counting his millions in some sort of Caribbean city, probably well, not smiling. I'm sure he wants his team to do well, but next one, sort of a slugfest in Pittsburgh with the Ravens taking on the Steelers, and the Steelers end up coming away with it with nothing but field goals. Steelers scored nothing but field goals, and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, who Lamar Jackson has won through the air. Derrick Henry has his anytime TD, which you can count on if you want to bet on that next week. But the Ravens moved to 7-4. Steelers moved to 8-2. I mean, the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, again, my coach of the year, my coach of the decade, my coach of the last 2 decades. The guy is unbelievable. He is such a good coach, a great motivator, a great leader. And the Steelers take the win on nothing but field goals, 18-16. Both solid teams. They're both going to be in the playoffs. It's how they maneuver throughout the playoffs. I don't see good things for the Steelers. I don't. They feel like a Moneyball team to me, that they're going to be really good in the regular season and probably not have enough stamina for the playoffs. And I think the Ravens, quite the opposite. They're kind of struggling their way through the regular season, but I think they're built for the playoffs. We'll see about that. Hey, man, great one out of Denver. Great to see the Broncos. They're looking better and better. Sean Payton is just an amazing coach, and Bo Nix looked awesome in this game. Broncos score 38 points. Bo Nix goes 28 for 33 for 307 and 4 TDs. Again, Broncos looked awesome. I took the Falcons in this one. I thought the Falcons would come in there because they needed that win. Broncos needed it too, but I felt like the Falcons were going to go on the road and do something special. But Bo Nix put on a show in Denver, and good for him. I love watching Bo Nix play, and I think he's going to be a great leader for that team. I think they've found their QB1 for the next 5 to 10 years. All right, next one, San Francisco and Seattle in San Francisco, or Santa Clara, or wherever the heck they play. The star in this one for me was Juwan Jennings, but the 49ers do not get it done. Seattle comes back in the final seconds. Geno Smith takes the final run to the end zone, wins the game for the Seahawks. Christian McCaffrey, second start back, I believe. 19 carries for 79 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba, great game for the Seahawks. 10 receptions for 110 yards. Again, Juwan Jennings, the star for the 49ers. Big first downs, big touchdown. But they could not get it done at home, and the Seahawks just escape with a win. Seahawks are a tough team. They're going to be a tough out if they make the playoffs. All right, next one. Game of the week was the Chiefs and Bills from Buffalo, and this thing lived up to the hype. Josh Allen goes 27 for 40. For 262 and 1 TD. Shakir goes 8 for 70 through the air. And the Bills take the win at home and put all of us at ease that the Chiefs lose because they should have lost about 5 times, but they're amazing magic that they pull off their Mahomes magic. But Bills get the win at home. I predicted that one too. Saw that one coming from a mile away, and they performed really well. Josh Allen gets that late TD for the Bills. He is, I believe, the front runner. I think you got Lamar, you got Baker, you got a few different quarterbacks out there, a few different players. Derrick Henry, I think, should be in that mix. But Josh Allen that performance may have set him apart for the Buffalo Bills and for his MVP chances. All right, Sunday Night Football was in L.A. This game looks like it's going to be a blowout in the first half. Chargers, Josh Herbert, I don't know how he's not in the MVP discussion. That dude, he was like 7 for 7 or 9 for 9. He is the sharpest quarterback in the league. I don't think anybody throws a better ball. He is amazing. Looked amazing in the first half, and the Bengals. So Chargers are up big in the first half. They look like they're going to dominate, but the Bengals come right back, and Burrow has another MVP second half like he does a lot of times in these games. 28 for 50 for 356 and 3 TDs. Burrow's leading the league in passing, and the Bengals are 4-7. That doesn't compute a lot, but got to give it up to Harbaugh. One big shout out for J.K. Dobbins, who's come back from 18 different injuries to be who he is and a star for the Chargers. But Jim Harbaugh, you have to give it to him. The culture he builds, the toughness he builds into the defense and to the offense and how they run their offense. Man, what a coach that guy is. And he's already got the Chargers looking towards the playoffs. What a turnaround. coaches make the difference. Obviously, great players do too, but you got to have somebody at the top who's building the culture. And last night on Monday night, the Texans were looking like this was going to be a blowout in the first quarter. So Houston traveling to their nearby rival, the Dallas Cowboys, at AT&T Stadium, where things were falling from the roof at the beginning of the game. Texans look like they're going to run away with it, but Cooper Rush comes back before the end of the first. First of all, Cooper Rush, bless his heart. They don't have a very good offensive line in Dallas, but I mean, that dude misses a lot of throws. He misses a lot of throws, but he's pressured constantly. But the Texans, again, the Cowboys kind of stayed in it, and then late, the Texans just close it out. Joe Mixon has 3 TDs on the day. He was awesome, 20 carries for 109 in those 3 TDs. CeeDee Lamb still has a good game, 8 receptions for 93 yards. I don't know what to say. The Cowboys are done. They're done for the season. The Texans are looking great. They look solid. They've got a great quarterback in C.J. Stroud. They got a great running back in Joe Mixon, and they have some dangerous people on defense. They fly around the ball, and when they get Will Anderson back, they are going to be contenders. So watch out for the Texans. All right, that is the Week 11 recap here on Honorable Mention Sports. I'm Drew Bedard. I hope you enjoyed this, and please follow and subscribe, and we will be back each week with about a 15-minute breakdown, as fast as I can possibly do it, of the NFL week in review. So give us a